This is episode 129 of the Rise Up podcast. We're a morning radio show hosted by Steve and Tim on Family Life, a network of stations across New York and Pennsylvania. This podcast is a weekly conversation designed to help you think and laugh and keep your eyes on Jesus. If you haven't already, subscribe today so you don't miss a single episode. And find out more about our show at familylife.org.
Thanks for making us part of your morning routine. It's Rise Up with Steve and Tim on Family Life.
Steve, this doesn't really matter for what we're talking about today,
Okay.
but when has that stopped us before?
Nah, we keep going.
Why is the game called Tug of War? It really should be the other way around. It should be War of Tug. Like Tug of War.
Oh.
You're like tugging is what you're doing, and you're in this battle over tugging. So it's like maybe it's Tug War or War of Tug, but there's no construction, which I agree that it should be Tug of War.
Well, you're right about one thing, Tim.
What's that?
Really doesn't matter. That's one
Okay,
thing
fair
for
point.
sure.
Yeah, true.
Did you know that Tug of War used to be an Olympic event, by the way?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, back in the early 1900s. It was actually an event for I want to say 20 years or something.
Wow.
Yeah, Tug of War was. They should bring that back. That's kind of fun because I think probably everybody at some point in their life has done the
Been part of a game.
Tug of War, War of Tug, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But that's kind of the thing. And so why do we bring that up?
Oh, everybody does Tug of War, Steve.
Yeah?
I think everybody plays Tug of War with God.
Ah.
I was thinking about this the other day.
Yeah.
Because there are some things we really do just need to let go of.
Mm-hmm.
But what is it? I think it's maybe different for each of us. A lot of similarities, probably a lot of overlap in this. But we can each answer the question differently. Like, what am I holding on to one side of? And in my imagination, God's holding on to the other side. And he needs to get it from me. I need to let him win, but I'm still trying to hold on to this thing.
Oh, this is interesting because my wife and I just had a conversation about this recently and here there's going to be a difference in this. We have adult children who they're married.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, if you're, my wife and I, we're married and we have our idea of what a marriage should look like. Even the particulars, not just the basic, love God, love others, but how you get along and how you relate to each other and how you communicate and all those things we have a way. And then when all of a sudden your adult kids are married and they're in a marriage and all of a sudden they have, I don't know, a situation, whether negative, positive, whatever, and they're having trouble communicating or either don't communicate or lack of communication or not doing it the correct way. Here's the tug of war that we play. We have this is the way in our heads. This is the way your marriage should be. Should be.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's how we perceive it. Not the way it's their marriage. It's not our marriage.
Yeah.
Actually it's God's, right? It's in God's hands. Yeah. And so we have a tendency to play tug of war with we're thinking, and we haven't really communicated this out loud. We talk to each other about it. Not that it's we feel like your marriage should be going in this. Here's what you should do.
Yeah,
so it's a tug of war. Holding on to your kids is one thing because they're God's anyways. But then when they get out of your house and they're married and they have their own lives, it's like you're still playing tug of war. It's like, here's the way we perceive it should be. So we need to learn to let go, or at least we need to communicate that better to them or amongst ourselves. But yeah, letting go of those things because they're your kids and you care about them so much. And what if something goes wrong and you want to hold on to it? So as opposed to saying, God, you're in control of this. It's your marriage. It's, you put them together and they're trusting you. So why can't I trust you?
Ooh, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a tug of war we've been playing.
I think a lot of these tugs of war come down to us to just that, like things that, we let go of it because we have to trust God with it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's like this overarching category. And I keep trying to remind myself of this and I keep failing at it. For me, it's anything that I can't do anything about. Like if there's something I can't do anything about it, I've got to let go of it. Here's just a tiniest kind of example. I'm playing tug of war when somebody bugs me. Let's put it in family. My wife does something that bothered me or something, and I want to say something about it. And the tug of war between me and God in that moment is as if he's saying, Tim, don't say that. What's it going to change? I'm just saying, hey, that bothered me. If it's not a big deal, if it's not a big problem, what are your words going to change in this moment? Well, I'll get it off my chest. That's not it. Tim, what's it going to change? What's it going to change for the better? It can change something for the worse. Let go of it. How about this? This is another big one for me. Don't worry about that problem. Don't Google that question.
Oh.
What's it going to change? What are you going to be able to do about it anyways? You've got this worry. Don't Google your worry, Tim. Like, what's Google going to be able to change about it for
It's usually
you?
a health thing.
Oh, it's like we're talking about kids, right?
Right.
I mean, we've got these things.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, like if you're trying to make decisions and you need more information, but how often, like be honest with yourself, I'll be honest with myself, how often am I Googling something that it doesn't matter what the answer is that comes back to me? I won't be able to do anything about it.
Right.
I'm just trying to make myself feel better.
Right.
Man, that's something I'm holding on to that I've got to give over to God. Can I use an image
Sure.
for this idea? This really kind of blew my mind when I saw this happen the other day between my 2-year-old little girl and my 65-pound Australian Shepherd dog, Shasta, because he's got this chew toy. Oh, it's a rope. You know, like when I play with him with this rope, he pulls on one side, I pull on the other, and we really go at it. And I mean, I cannot get the thing away from him for anything. My 2-year-old, when she grabs one side and Shasta grabs the other side, she can say, "Drop it." And Shasta drops it.
Ooh.
He drops it, and I'm just reading a little into it here, but he drops it because she is my child. What I need to do with my worry as a child of God is tell it, drop it.
Drop it.
Like let go of it. The part of me that wants to keep holding on, keep tugging at the other side, drop it. You're a child of God. You've got authority to tell those things. Like, no, that fear, you don't get to keep your grasp on my mind. Like, just drop it. In Jesus' name, drop it. That's what I got to tell myself.
All right. You just gave me an image
Oh,
about the thing. Okay. Hopefully I'm not alone at this. I might sound mean if I am. Okay, let's say we all played Tug of War at one point, and you're you're on a team, and you have, several people, and you're tugging and tugging and tugging, and all of a sudden you guys have decided on your teams, like, oh, hey, let's not, as we're pulling, let's just let go of the rope. And what's going to happen is they're going to fly back the other way and fall down probably. And what are you going to do? Exactly what you're doing now. You're laughing at them.
There they go.
You're laughing at them because why? It's so much fun. It's so much fun to let go.
Wow.
All right. So there's a good. Now, am I mean for laughing?
Nah, you're
at
making
people?
that worry fall flat on its back. That
There
is
you
not
go.
mean to laugh at that.
All right. Let that worry go. Let it fly away, and you'll feel so much better. You may even laugh a little bit.
Can I hope that there's mud?
Here we go. It's another new day. You're listening to Rise Up with Steve and Tim on Family Life.
I have a theory, but I need to check my facts before I move on with my theory. I'm not sure. Are you a good artist? Like, do you like to draw, paint, artist? Or are you a good artist?
I doodle.
Doodle.
I dabble with doodling.
Doodle dabbler.
Yeah.
Okay, but and I'll get to my point here in a second. I know your wife Trinity is quite the artist. She's a
Yeah,
very
really,
artist.
she is talented, no doubt.
All right. Now, what I'm theorizing about is grilling, because grilling is an art form, according to those who do it quite well.
Okay, I'll hear from them.
And I have found out recently that the artist in your family is the better griller.
Yeah, we've only recently found that out ourselves, too, because I decided to hand in that part of my man card and say, look, Trinity, you can do the grilling this year, because I'm just no good at it.
Apparently you're not alone. That old stereotype, that notion is now outdated. According to the figures,
Really?
more than half the women in the family are the better grillers.
I can vouch for it.
All right. You go grill.
I see
What I
Yeah.
did? That I mixed the letters
That's
up.
good.
We hope the rest of your day is just as much fun as this. You're listening to Rise Up on Family Life.
Steve, did you know a can of soda will explode in a hot car?
Yes.
Okay.
I do know that. Yeah.
Has it ever happened to you?
No, it hasn't, Tim. Why? You have this look on your face. It's like, I think you're bringing this up for a reason.
We all learn from experience.
Mm-hmm.
We all, even you, Steve, learned this lesson about a can of soda exploding.
Yeah.
You learn it from experience, just not your own experience.
Right. I'd heard it a long time ago. I've never seen it actually happen.
Yeah, I
but,
never heard about that before. I learned about it, though.
Yeah?
From experience.
What exactly happened there,
Oh,
Tim?
okay, yeah, it's personal experience. Yeah, it was a few days ago,
Okay.
but yeah,
Okay.
I found out a can of soda left in a hot car, it does explode. Now, thankfully, pop is rather blottable It blots well.
blots.
The stain,
Okay.
it blots. It's got high blottability.
Oh yeah,
You can get
always
it out
heard
pretty
that.
easily. So thankfully, I figured out like the stain. It's like it's gone. But one way or another, it taught me we're all going to learn from experience. We're all going to learn from mistakes. Teach. God designed them to do that. I just rather learn from somebody else's mistakes in the future. But now you know from mine. If soda goes kaboom in your car, fear not, it is blottable. Highly blottable.
Highly blottable. You now have a carbonated carburetor, I think, is what you have.
Sharing the message of hope. It's Rise Up with Steve and Tim on Family Life.
Good morning, Steve and Tim.
Hey,
Hi,
Cindy.
Well, it doesn't only explode in a hot car, but if your sunroom gets hot enough, it will explode an entire case.
No!
In the house, in the sunroom. Oh, that's true.
Yes.
Temperature's temperature, no matter where it is, I guess, right?
And from the experience of my parents, if you are making homemade root beer and the attic gets hot enough, it'll blow up in there too.
Wow. All these experiences.
The soda.
And you know, it's nice to learn from someone else's experience, but somehow the lessons we learn from our own stick with us a whole lot better.
You know, I'm not going to forget this one anytime soon, Cindy.
Good morning. My name is Corey, and I live in Alfred Station. As far as cans of soda exploding, experience does teach you a lot, and they'll explode when it gets cold enough outside, too.
Dude, and now that one I knew in New York experience that I've had in the past, but our area all over gets cold enough for that. I didn't know we got hot enough to blow up cans of pop.
Can you give us your cold experience?
I was very fortunate that the cans were extremely expanded when I found them in the car, but they hadn't quite reached that point. So I was able to, lob them out into the yard and let them go off like grenades.
You know, that you just conjured up an image. It's kind of like me after Thanksgiving meal. I expand just enough where I just go out in the front yard and roll around, and I haven't exploded yet, but I don't think.
May the blessings of the Lord be with you in all that you do today. This is Rise Up on Family Life.